If you're looking for a new smartphone released this year for under $300, the Moto G5 Plus is now another option. Can it fill in daddy's big shoes, or will it become a huge disappointment? Let's see what Motorola has brought to the table with its new Moto G smartphone. Right off the bat, the Moto G5 Plus looks nothing like its predecessors. Instead of plastic, you now have an all-metal, non-removable back panel with a full glass front and some plastic on the sides. It may not feel as premium as the Moto Z flagships, but the use of aluminum gives it that reassuring heft when holding it in the palm of your hand. The power and volume rocker aren't very tactile, feel relatively soft when pressed upon, and button placement is a bit too low for my fingers. Since I'm already complaining about minor issues on the phone, I might as well tell you that I wish the camera hump wasn't there either, as you can't use tap on display while it's flat on a surface without having it wobble, and it would have been better if the dimple wasn't replaced by the raised Moto logo. I want my dimple back. On a more positive note, I do very much enjoy the texture on the power key. It allows me to easily differentiate which button I'm pressing. The overall build feels much more durable and premium, and holding this phone is a pleasant experience. Now, the fastest way to unlock the phone is with the fingerprint sensor found on the front. It performs extremely well, even outshining some of the top flagships on the market. Not only that, but it can also replace your entire navigation bar with the one button nav feature found in the Moto app. Once enabled, you can swipe left on the sensor to go back, swipe right to open the recents menu, tap on it to go home, tap and hold to lock the screen, and press and hold even harder to open Google Assistant. The gesture recognition is reliable and secretive, so if you decide to use this, you'll find it to be a great alternative with easy navigation, while someone else who uses your phone or snatches it will have a hard time navigating throughout the interface if they've never used the G5. Overall, this is a great fingerprint scanner, but it would have been better if they just put the back and recents key on the sides like the OnePlus 3T. It gives you a better screen to body ratio. Without the buttons, there's nothing there but poor use of space, and it's much more practical than the all-in-one nav bar button. The screen is actually smaller in size from the G4 at just 5.2 inches, and it's still rocking a 1080p IPS LCD display. But for a low budget smartphone, this is still a very good panel with accurate colors, great viewing angles, and works alright in outdoor lighting. Out of the box, the colors are set to vibrant to enhance the saturation and to make the colors pop, but if you want a more accurate tone, then you could set it to standard. As for the software, this device is running Android 7.0, which unfortunately is not the latest version of Nougat, but at least it's not Marshmallow. The thing I like about the UI on most Moto phones is their non-bloated, stock-like Android experience with a few extra Motorola features on top. You still have the regular chop twice for a flashlight, twist for quick capture, swipe to shrink screen, and other less popular gestures. But you do get some new bells and whistles, such as the one button nav feature, as discussed at the beginning of this video. The Moto display has been tweaked to include a large battery/clock widget, which is still a great way to check your notifications without waking the display, a new way to enable split screen mode in the recents menu, and a launcher which looks a little like the Pixels. There's a pull-up app drawer, the porthole folders, and the Google Feed panel on the left. The only thing that they made different is the dark transparent theme and the full search bar at the top. It's still pretty snappy, and navigating throughout this launcher is pretty easy, just like the rest of the interface. The G5 Plus comes in two versions that vary in the amount of RAM and storage. Mine has 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal capacity, so if you got the model that has 2GB of RAM, then you might have slightly different results. Either way, they both come packed with a Snapdragon 625 chipset, which is more than capable of handling this device. There was little to no lag, application reload time was quick, and with the upgrade to the Adreno 506 GPU, gaming on this phone was not that bad. It's obviously not going to compete with the big boys such as the 3T, Pixel, or S7, but for a low budget smartphone, it's at the top of its game. The G5 still has a single speaker at the top which doubles as the earpiece speaker. It's front facing and gets decently loud, but gets a little distorted at its high points. It's obviously not the best speaker out there. It works just fine, but for what it's worth, that's what we've come to expect on low budget smartphones nowadays. Same goes for the camera. You do get a new hidden trick in the viewfinder, allowing it to automatically detect QR codes and barcodes, as well as 4K video recording. However, the 12 megapixel sensor with an aperture size of f1.7 and dual autofocus pixels provides a meh experience. It doesn't have optical image stabilization, and now doesn't even have laser autofocus like the G4 Plus had, and you'll experience this problem heavily when shooting at night. It does, however, focus pretty quick in good lighting. It's even faster than its predecessor. Pictures come out looking solid and crisp in daylight shootings, but there is a bit of softening and overexposure in the end results. When you're shooting at night, that's when the camera starts to act like a smartphone under $300. There are some random times that the pictures come out looking decent, but no matter what, you will always experience some kind of noise, blown out highlights, and washed out colors. Also, unless you're extremely steady, it's extremely hard to take a picture at night without having it become a blurry mess. The lack of optical image stabilization is the reason behind this. Don't get me wrong, it's not a horrible camera, but it's not great either. Like I said before, it's what we've come to expect on budget smartphones. Powering all this is still a 3000 mAh battery, getting me around 4 hours of screen on time and heavy usage, with my Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS being enabled at all times for my Google Maps, my second generation Moto 360, and my Snapchat spectacles. On light usage, this thing can easily last me around 5 to 6 hours. Obviously, my battery usage may not match yours, but I can guarantee you'll be a satisfied customer, especially since the phone can easily last you more than a day. When it does run out of juice, it uses a micro USB port. I know, I'm just as disappointed as you are, but at least it charges pretty quick with turbo power, which is just another version of quick charge. Another thing to know about the G5 is that it's still not waterproof, has no NFC for the US models, while international models will have NFC, comes unlocked and works on all 4 major carriers, and has a micro SD card slot. It's available for pre-order at a starting price of $230 with 2 colors to choose from. The variant I got is the higher end, priced at $300, so I can only give my recommendation on that one. In my opinion, I think Motorola is still the best way to go when choosing to go cheap. It provides stellar performance, great battery life, an insanely fast fingerprint sensor, unique software features, and an acceptable camera. That's a huge bargain to beat at this low of a price, so I can't see myself recommending any other device near this tag. That's my full review of the Moto G5 Plus. Drop a like